What's going on, everybody? It's David from the 80s, and you're now entering the Cinema Job Shop. So park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button. Also, if you check the link below, you'll see a Patreon account. You click it. You can become a member. All you got to do is try to recommend movies and music and trailers for me to react to. So click the link. Now, with that being said, we're here today to review a movie called The Sadness. I think it's a movie from Thailand. It's produced, it's directed by a guy named Rob Jabaz, which a bitch has. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so this movie is simple as plot. There's this young man kicking it with his girl. They end up leaving, and there's like this freaking variant of rabies out there. And yeah, so it's out there floating around. It makes people aggressive, and apparently it makes them horny. So this movie is filled with a lot of explicit things and a lot of violence and gore. So let's just go ahead and get to it. Now, first and foremost, storyline. Storyline isn't super fucking original. We've seen this story a billion freaking times. I've seen so many movies with variants of the rabies strand. It's freaking ridiculous. We've seen it for zombies. We've seen it for I don't know, dude. We've seen this shit a lot where there's some sort of rabies variant making people sick, and it ends up becoming some sort of pandemic or epidemic or whatever the hell, EpiPen, whatever, you know? So these are the problems that we've had. This is not like a super original idea. But what this movie does have, it has cojones, balls, because honestly, the amount of gore in this freaking movie is fantastic. The kills are dope. The practical effects are amazing. I mean, seriously, the bloodshed alone sells this movie. Like the violence alone sells this movie. I mean, that's really what this movie has going for it. I hear a lot of people saying, hey, man, this movie's hard to watch. Hey, man, this movie kind of checks off a lot of boxes for uncomfortableness. Amen, amen, amen. And I'm like, I watched it and I was like, yeah, there's some cringe, like, moments, but I wouldn't say it's nothing to the point where it just was like, maybe want to turn the fucking TV off, you know, but it is a lot of cringy moments in there. And I mean, if you're really sensitive to a lot of shit, then definitely you will be bothered by some of this stuff. But again, back to it. The storyline's okay. The violence is dope, but there is some shitty CGI moments. Now, there's pretty much a moment in the movie where the character goes up to like a road and he's standing in the road and he's looking and trying to figure out where he wants to go. And you can clearly see that this road is CGI rendered. Like, there's no fucking question about it. There's so many scenes in the movie that CGI rendered. It kind of like caught me off guard. I'm just like, oh, that was bad CGI. Like, you can really tell like that shit was CGI. Like, you couldn't get some cars and just park them by a road. Like, he's just standing there and he just runs down a road. You didn't have to CGI render that. You could have went and filmed that shit anywhere. But alas, you know, this is what we have. But outside of violence, dude, this movie ain't really got much going for it. It's just a dope, bloody movie to watch, you know. It is one of those movies where you have to have some sort of problem resolution. And the problem resolution in the movie isn't, oh, we need to go find a cure, because obviously this shit just happened that day. So it's not about finding a cure. It's about two lovebirds trying to find each other in this cold, cold pandemic world. And let me tell you, I mean, it's okay the way that it's done, but you don't really give a shit about that. You don't fucking care if they find each other. You don't care if they find love. You don't care if they even find each other again. You just want to see some motherfuckers die. And I cannot blame you for that. I cannot. I can't blame you for that, because this is what we came to see this movie for. Blood, guts, and ass. That's what we came to see this movie for. And yeah, it delivers in that area. But honestly, none of the characters in this movie made me care if they lived or died. The plot didn't make me care if anybody made me care if anybody lived or died. I mean, this movie isn't really like freaking amazing, but it is fun and entertaining, and it's something that if you are into blood, guts, and everything horror, then this is definitely up your alley. Just don't get too caught up in the aesthetic of everything, because then you're going to start to notice the CGI rendering. And then for me, once I noticed it, it started to bother me, and I couldn't unsee it in a lot of the different scenes. So I kind of screwed it up for myself. Maybe I should have kept the veil on in order to, like, you know, keep the magic going. But again, this is not some story that's trying to rebuild the wheel. Is not something that's trying to be super new, super original. The only thing they did was take rabies and the violent acts of rabies, like in the movie. Like this movie's just like the Crazies. It's just it has a sexual element to it. And I mean, truthfully, the sexual element doesn't do anything for this movie. Only thing that it does is offer you cringe-worthy moments where you're just like, what the fuck? That's it. Yes, there's definitely a huge what the fuck moment. There is one huge what the fuck moment in this movie. And it's just like, yo, they went there crazy. All right. That's like one of the really eye-popping, no pun intended, moments of the movie. All right. So you got to see it in order to understand what the hell I'm talking about. But this movie is on Shudder. I believe it's on Amazon Prime. I'm pretty sure you can rent it. I know the Blu-rays they're out. I know it got a steelbook or some shit or a 4K out there somewhere floating around. This movie is available to watch. You just got to go ahead and look for it. There's plenty of different outlets that are showing it. But me personally, I saw it on Shudder. So if you have the Shudder app, go ahead and find it and watch it. This is a subtitled movie. If you're not in the subtitles, then I would probably recommend to stay away from this movie because people are really fucking anal about subtitles and I don't get it. I mean, I get it if you can't read and watch a movie at the same time. It becomes it's something that you have to practice in order to get good at. But unless this person is saying a lot, I never really understood that. But truth be told, between me and you don't really fucking need to understand what the fuck they're talking about. They ain't talking about shit. It's nothing that dialogue, it's not a dialogue driven movie. And even the dialogue that's in the movie doesn't really offer anything structural to the story other than knowing like where they're heading. But I literally could probably watch this movie with the subtitles off and like kind of figure out like what's going on because it's that simple. It's a really simple movie. It's nothing that's trying to recreate the will or anything like that. So that's my review. Let me know if you agree or disagree or whatever the case may be. Drop it in the comment section down below. And if you are now exiting Cinema Chop Shop, hope you guys have a magnificent day. Adios, homies.